All right. Good morning. Good morning. Sorry about the delay there. I had some internet issues this morning. Can you guys in Discord see me, hear me, and any other senses you may recall? All right. Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm okay, Doctor. Sorry about that. Normally I don't get on so late there. I had some, I just couldn't get my freaking, my computer to start. Usually I have issues on Wednesdays. It's like a Windows update. They do those on Tuesdays, Tuesday night. Yeah, my alarm went off. It was like, it's like just freaking out at me. I'm trying to get everything like started up. It just wouldn't go. Yeah, it's a stupid dial-up, man. I don't know what's going on. So I don't expect today to be super eventful. It is a Tuesday morning. It is Veterans Day, so happy Veterans Day. Now, key difference here, Veterans Day is for veterans. So that's anyone who served, alive or otherwise. And then Memorial Day is for those who are no longer alive. So I know people get that confused all the time, but they're both federal holidays, which means that the banks are closed. So we don't have settled cash today. So if you blew all your money yesterday, then you're not going to be able to trade today unless you're on paper. So I'm expecting a much thinner audience today because I feel like everybody just kind of blasted through everything yesterday. Because we know that most traders just use all their cash just to use it. Thank you, Anrad. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. Good. All right. So let's go shopping. We got about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes till market open. So again, I'm not going to be running into stuff super aggressively today. We got some of the repeat offenders here on the morning list. So let me just close that RSI. I was using that for an example. So all right, let's do the day trades list. So let's delete all the other stuff, the old tickers. We don't need those anymore. All right. So this one here has a market cap 445K, volume of 23.43 million, pre-market price 62 cents. So this has a good volume to market cap ratio. I like it. I'm going to add it. That's MSPR. We've traded that one a lot. QNRX has a very low volume to market cap ratio. It's less than 1-to-1. Same with this one. ENGN, same thing. Yeah, I don't really see anything that's got a good one. Ooh, I like CYCU. Let me add that one. It's got a low volume to market cap ratio, but I like this setup. I like it. I like it a lot. So I'll keep that one on there. BRAI. That's more of a top special. A BBAI, sorry. Now this one obviously got some movement yesterday. They had their there we go. They crushed on earnings, so I don't trust this to continue. So we'll see. It's kind of a mid float there. It's 432 million, so it's not going to be super volatile. But if that volume gets directional, that can suck. So I don't want to get stuck in that one. I don't really see too much else today. Now I've only got $77 in settled cash on this account, so we got less than a minute till market open. I think I'm just going to take it nice and easy, and I think I'm just probably going to do one trade. I might do two. I'll do two, just for you guys. I'll do two $30 trades, and then I'll do maybe a $17 trade or something like that. Yeah, and I think the only ticker that I see that I like is probably going to be, yeah, it's just these three. So I've got MSPR. Let me put these in the chat for you guys. MSPR, BBAI, CYCU. It's kind of slim pickings this morning. Also, let me put this on the social media here. Okay, just put those on all the platforms, and then we'll see what we get. All right, market is open. So let me switch this over to the daily. And I don't really care if stuff runs initially. I really kind of want to see how it handles the sell-off. So, I might catch a quick scalp here. Now I've got my hotkeys set here for the take profit at 1.5%, but today I'm going to kind of let this go for a minute because I don't want to rush into stuff right into the open, not on a day like this. So today, my goal is to, well, I already hit my goal for yesterday, pretty much the whole week. I hit that yesterday. We got $15.21, which was like 6%, 6.3%. So today I would like to make about $5. So we'll see if we get that. Now I'm going to see how this kind of handles this zone here. I'm also going to kick down to the 2-minute on this one. Now, if we can get like a pullback, I'd grab that, or a breakout over this up to that level there. I think I'd trade that one pretty nicely. That's MSPR. So I kind of want to see how it handles this orange box. Now I'm assuming we're probably going to get something like this, which I'm okay with. And again, I only need 5%. So I just don't want to chase it up super high. You know, we did just break over these wicks and all that good stuff, but we're running into an absorption zone. So I don't want to get slammed on that unnecessarily. So we'll just kind of hang out and see what's going on. Let me check out BBAI. That one's selling off again. You know, I don't trust it to hold on to those profits, but you know, we were down here before, and we were down here, and we were down here, and we were down here. So, you know, again, it's all about the bounce. So let me just take a look at CYCU and kind of see what that's doing. I don't expect much out of this one today. It's only up 21%. Now this one is kind of one of those top specials where if it gets volume, the volume comes in and starts dragging the price up, then we'll look at it. But for right now, it's just going to be sitting there. So that's just going to be a purely volume driven play. BBAI is looking for that 25% pullback that we see 90% of the time. So that's going to be 659. And then, of course, no man's land is right here. So from a purely fib perspective, you know, it didn't quite get the 25% pullback. That's not good. Yikes, that's a bloodbath. So I'm okay just sitting that one out. You know, and I think that's going to be the name of the game on days like this. There's just not a lot going on in terms of goodness pre-market. So I'm keeping an eye here in the order book on MSPR. I think this is just the one I'm going to watch. I don't really care too much for the other two. So yeah, we'll see what we get. Now, what is 256.18 plus 1.5% is going to be $3.84. So can I make $3.84 with $70? I think so. And I've got a $30 initial buy. Yeah, I think so. We'll just have to wait and see. Oh, you know what? I can't trade this with $30. I got to do at least, you know what? This is probably just going to be a one and done for this one, because this is the only thing I can trade. And it's the only one that's giving me a signal today. This I don't trust, BBAI. Now, it does have a lot of potential for speculation if like all the FOMO kids jump in, but it's going to be sketchy. So I'll keep an eye on this percentage over here, and I'll keep an eye over here on the order book for MSPR, but I don't trust it. And that's just, you know, again, it's not a bad day to just kind of sit on our hands also. There's just, we don't quite got the juice today. Yeah, all the FOMO kids with their podcast bids. Yeah. That's going to be stuck in my head now. Thanks. I don't know if I can sing that on a live stream, buddy. That's it's got some serious tone to it. In this climate. All right, so it looks like all these are just kind of pulling back down. Nothing really going on. And this is not the time to just aggressively jump into stuff. Just kind of looking around, seeing what else is out there. ENGN. So yeah, I kind of like that setup, but there's no volume. LPSN, that's a good one. I'm sure Top's probably trading the hell out of that one. Ooh, Pubmatic. See, this one I kind of like. It needs volume, though. It's got 1/900th of the volume to market cap ratio. That's insane. And it's only a 37 million float stock. The reason this market cap is so high is because of the share price. It's $10 per share. So that's kind of on the upper end of what I prefer. So like ideally we get them $2 to $10, but we'll see. Okay, MSPR is looking for a pop. Unfortunately, it needs volume for that to happen. So may or may not get that. All right, so we got a nice little zone recovery setup on this one. Actually, quite a bit. Just got to keep being patient on these. We don't want to rush into these and get caught with our pants down. So CYCU is looking to break over highs. It also has a nice little zone recovery like chunk on it. I might look to grab some of this. Yeah, I think I'm going to chase a little bit here on the breakout. Now, it's not chasing as in I'm hoping for a 300% run. Just catching it on a break over these wicks right here. So, and I do have a little bit of cash left over, so I can add to it if I want to, but I kind of don't want to deal with drawdown today. Anything significant anyway. So we'll see what we get. Now, this one is good for a run up to 360, 361. And of course, disclaimer time, don't just copy me, guys, especially on a day like today. Today is the kind of day where we can just sit on our hands and not, not force things, right? So we just got to kind of be careful today. So that'd be 6-7%. You know what? I think I'm going to load this one up here. Let's see, 60. Yeah, I think I'm just going to add kind of everything I have today to that one. I really have confidence in this setup here. Based on what I'm seeing in the order book, time and sales, and the structural setup here, I think we got a pretty decent opportunity. Now, again, something like this, when it starts to take off, it has potential to grab all the volume, which means we have potential to halt. So I have to be careful with that. And we're up 3%-ish right here, 3.5%. So we can always just lock it, walk away for the day if we want. I'm taking a little bit more aggressive risk. I'm comfortable with it, and I already made my profit for the week. So this is just extra icing on the cake for me. And I kind of like what it's doing, but that I can't let that be a deciding factor. I can't let my likes to make my decisions. I have to base it on what the chart's telling me. So right now we have a good quality setup here up to 355 into the 360s if it gets and sustains the volume. If not, they're going to potentially try to pull it down below 347 and then maybe even down to 320. So a little bit risky biscuits here. I kind of grabbed it out of a break into a little bit of shakeout. So I think as long as that breaks, I think we'll be good. And let me just go peek around here. BBAI is slowly trickling upward, but it's ugly. And then MSPR is still just kind of pulling back down. So again, for MSPR, the ideal opportunity would be down here. That's what I'm looking for on that one. Now, I'm not going to trade this. It is what it is. You're going to have to file a complaint I don't know. Yeah, appreciate you, buddy. What are you doing, Lee? Why don't you get on StreamYard? We can hang out. Oh, well, that's nice. Oh, just chilling out. Just looking at CYCU. All the other ones are garbage. It's kind of a trash day in the market. There's not good volume this morning. So we're just chilling. MSPR is probably the only one that's going to get the good volume, but it's pulling down right now. CYCU is just hovering. And then BBAI just wants to fall down. So I'm going to let it. Don't want to be in that one. So I'm just hanging out with CYCU for now. How's your hand, foot, mouth situation there? How's that going? You enjoying those gloves? There you go. Yeah, that's a good point, Onrod. If you, as a new person, are brand new to the market, if you're interested, we do have a 5-day free trial of Premium. Put that link in the chat for you, buddy.
Oh, I have to mute you on the Discord. You're like echo as hell. So I'm in the Discord with you, buddy. I'm in the StreamYard.
Nice. Welcome to my humble abode on social media.
Hell yeah. Always wanted to be here.
You want to do me a favor and just make this go up real fast so we can hop out?
Well, I was actually thinking the same thing for you to do. So, you know, whenever you want to add to your position, let me know.
No, I'm done. I'm pretty much done on the day. I'm just looking to get my little $3-4 and get out.
Already? Oh my lord!
Already?
This one actually was on the watch list. This one was picking up a little bit. Steam going into market open.
Yeah. That's pretty nice. I like it.
Did this one have any news? They had a news. Yeah, they had some. I suppose they had a deal. They had like a little major telecom provider, emergency warning network for leading U.S. government agencies. I suppose they were selected for that. So they had some kind of news overnight. That's probably why we got this move today.
Yeah. Biggie. Sorry, I just got a DM here. I always get a bunch of DMs from like Katie and them during my live streams. I'm like, guys, pick the best possible times.
I mean, that's good because they're up early. I mean, normally they're what time are they on? Central time, so they're up and early, getting stuff done.
Yeah, no, Katie's on it. Full credit. I just don't have answers. Yeah.
No, yeah, you don't have answers yet.
Yeah.
I'm interested in Open Door. Open Door's been one that's been rocketing over the last, like, even with not so great earnings, this one has just been bouncing around for sure.
Yeah, we like Open. I love this one. This is one of my favorites.
Goldman Sachs just bought a position in Open Door. I think it was like 5% stake. I think that was announced. That's why it moved up yesterday. Let me just make sure I get that right.
I've got some choice words for Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
there
say
we go.
it out
so it
loud?
looks like not on stream. So CYC is about to pop into our zone here. So far, so good. It's getting a little more volume, but I got to see it really flood in here. Otherwise, we got, potential rejection on our hands. So I'm going to keep watching it, keep holding it, keep playing around with it, see what happens.
Yeah, so Open Door, they had, it says here they filed a 13G. Goldman Sachs reported 5.1% stake in the company as of September 30th.
Oh, look at MSPR. It looks like it popped up into the orange box
nice.
again. I want to see how it handles this orange box. It's either going to break out, in which case we have an opportunity up to there, or I'm personally looking for a rejection down to the yellow box and then back up. So we got like a little messed up traffic light situation here. So we'll see if that pops out. But it did get over the high though, so that's good. I just didn't quite like it this morning when it was doing the little choppy chop. So I like CYC better at the moment. But good volume though. Good push. So what were you saying about your Goldman Sachs?
No, I don't worry. No, they just got that 5.1%. That's why we also had a big green day on it yesterday. Earnings weren't great whatsoever, and I believe they downgraded their guidance a little bit, but they didn't care, I suppose, because now someone has a stake in them. So let's just change our minds.
Just running around jamming stakes into things. That's not good.
So I like this one. I like this one until it starts fizzling away, and then I will happily short it down a little bit to where it deserves to be.
You're talking about Open?
Yeah, Open Door, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to short any of my watch list trades. I'm just going to play the upside, the momentum in, and get out of those. I'm not going to short those whatsoever. But I will short Open Door once that buying fizzles away and we start to see some sellers take over. I take it down maybe 10% if I can.
Yeah, that makes sense. As long as you're not shorting the one I'm trying to make money on, we're good.
Oh, absolutely not, man. No way. Would never do that to you.
Oh, it looks like MSPR popped up out of that box. So far, so good.
Boom. Nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
From 62-cent entry on the watch list too. We're up. We're jamming. We're making some money here.
Yeah, it's good stuff. What's that? 18%-ish? 62. 17%. 16.5. Good stuff, man.
Yeah. Not bad.
Shiny. How's BBA? Going to hell.
Oh yeah, BBAI is pretty popular though. Had earned.
Yeah, they got they got potential, but it's that volume wants to fall off. I mean, it's got to at least come down here. That's kind of where we were looking for it. That's a lot of strength coming into that support, though.
I like that.
That's a straight up 50-50 on that one.
Also want to look at their earnings last night.
I think they missed, didn't they? Or no, they crushed, didn't they?
Yeah, they did actually. Earnings per share. So the expectation was negative 7 cents, but they got negative 3 cents, beat by 57%, revenue increased by 4%. So yeah, they're doing pretty good. EPS up 50% year over year, revenue down 20% year over year. EPS 96% up quarter over quarter. So there is some mix there, but overall, I think, I mean, for it's like a startup, it could be going in the right direction.
Well, they had an acquisition too, from what I saw.
That's right. They announced that, right? Didn't they announce that yesterday too? They were buying another company, acquiring.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So good for them. They're just, again, the market wants to take it wherever the market wants to take it. I'm not going to try to jump in front of that train. But oh wow, look at MSPR. It's having trouble, but it's still got a lot of strength. Like this, even though it's stalling up here, when you see a stock like this and you got beautiful little zone recovery walls on it like this, where they're just symmetrical walls on both sides, that's a ton of strength. And this is good, strong volume, and it's relatively sustained. So this one I like. It's got much better quality than it did at market open. We had a good push at market open, but it gave it back immediately, and then it just kind of compressed a little bit, and then it released. So if we look at the lower time frame here, you see, well, let me just draw this out, right? Like everybody sees this candle right here, right? And everybody sees this candle here. This is like textbook, right? Everyone who uses the box strategy, you guys see that? Like picture perfect. All right, good stuff. Now I didn't like the volume on it, so I chose to trade CYCU instead, but that itself is a pretty clean example there. So good stuff. Now I'm gonna keep an eye on CYCU here. It's starting to do the similar thing. Just needs some volume to sustain though. I might cut this one here in a minute if it doesn't just push. I'd rather take a small profit. And again, today is just going to be a pretty hands-off kind of day. It's going to be very light in the market. Banks are not settling cash. People are, out of work, but they're not always home. It's a holiday, so I don't think we're going to see a whole bunch of activity this morning. Also, what's SPY doing? Yeah, SPY is just chopping. Like, I see that. There's nothing going on. It should have already blasted at this point, up to like 681.80 or something like that. At this point, we should have had no issues getting out of this box. So, but instead, we're kind of, remember, low volume, these boxes turn into magnets, right? The price wants to be there. When the volume comes in, it wants to get out of there, up or down. So we really just need the volume to come into the market if we want to see stuff move. Even MSPR gave back a good chunk of that move. So, can't really do too much about that. All right, so this will kind of be my hard cutoff on CYCU if it breaks below 335 5, I'm just going to cut it. I don't want to hang out too much if stuff's going sideways today. It's down 2 cents. It's time to average down. Let me color code these. I'll make this one red. Alrighty. Yeah, it's just one of those weird days, you know. It's a good day to not try to force things. So BBAI looks like it's trying to get ready for a push. It's going to have to clear over these wicks. It's going to have to just get a lot of volume and push. You know, it's got a good setup here on the ask. But again, needs the volume. Oh, I'm out. I'm not going to hold on to CYCU anymore. If it wants to go up after this, that's okay. I don't like what it's doing right now, and I have to make my decision based on the information I have. So again, I'd rather take a tiny loss today than a huge one, you know, and them's the breaks. You know, it's a kind of a crummy volume day. There's no point in trying to force stuff. And I'm already, you know, 3 or 4 days ahead on profit, so I don't feel too bad. Now the goal, right? MSPR is pushing a little bit more. I'll keep this one up for you guys because it's moving. The goal, right, and what makes me a successful trader is that I don't give back more than I make, and that's the goal. So I already know how much I made. I know how much runway I've had. You know, I'm 6% up for the week or whatever, even with that little. Was that 0.59% loss today? So I'm out. There's no point in trying to force stuff. So I can't trade MSPR on this account. I don't have enough settled cash, and that's okay. But again, you know, let me pull up my little flow chart or my spreadsheet for you guys. Just pull that up over here. Okay, so just going to update my spreadsheet here really quick. So today is Tuesday, November 11th. Again, happy Veterans Day. So instead of reaching 260.01, because this is higher, today instead we get 254.67. So $1.50, $1.51 loss, and that's okay. So, you know, with that said, oops, what's that turn our number into? That turns our 3.352 projection into 3.331. So not a big deal. And again, don't pay attention to this specific number. This is, there's no way we're going to reach that using this specific approach with just speculation within that 25-month period. We will get significantly into the 6 digits, but it's going to take a little bit of, time. You know, we're talking, you know, 50K a year from now. Well, a year and a month, so 13 months from now. You know, 40K a year from now. So we'll have to get there, right? It's going to be a step-by-step process. January 2027 will be at 70K, and then that's when things really start to ramp up quickly. You know, and then within the next 3 or 4 months, you're going to be, you know, 180, 190K, 200K. But it's important to note that once we get up into like the 50 to 70K range, we're going to run into liquidity ceilings pretty substantially. So at that point, the strategy will have to change. And that's okay. You know, we can adapt. I've already laid out my plan for this portfolio several times. Just a quick recap for anybody that might have missed those. I'm going to pull up my Discord as well. You know, it's important not to focus on the big numbers, especially early on, and especially if you're a newer trader, because you're going to frustrate yourself. So my plan for this week, I adjusted my rate from 1.01 to 1.05. Sorry, 1.1. Jesus, 1.0 to 1.5. Can't talk today. So this week, I'm just going to use the increased target range, which again, I've already hit my target for the week. I'm up 6%-ish for the week because of yesterday. And then next week, I'm going to, this week and next week, I'm going to start incorporating the higher threshold, so 1.5%. And then on the 24th, we're going to incorporate scale out strategies where we lock 80% of the shares at the fixed target of 1.5%. And then we let 20% run to higher targets based on what the chart tells me. And then sometime after that, we're going to start decreasing the amount that we lock up front. So instead of 80%, we'll bump it down to 75%, then 70%, and then maybe like 50%. and let the remainder run and scale out smaller pieces on the way up. And then, at that point, we should be in the 2 to 3K range, which we'll start incorporating some spreads. Not 0 days, not not the crazy risky naked options, but maybe we'll do spreads this early. I'd probably do those a little bit later on, but we'll see. We'll see what we get, and then we'll start incorporating a little bit more aggressive scaling. So we'll be scaling in on the way up, scaling out, and I'll just kind of walk you guys through that process, and then we'll get rocking and rolling. And then before you know it, we'll have to change the strategy altogether, because we can't put all this cash. Like if we get up to, let's say we get up to like 600K, for example, you're not going to reach 600K trading low float trash. It just isn't going to work. You're going to run into liquidity ceilings because of the 0.25% rule, and all that good stuff. So by this time, we're going to be doing some different stuff, and it's going to be a little bit more involved. But the same goal applies. I just want to get my 1.5% per day, and I have to do that in a certain way at that point because of liquidity. And I don't want to sit here and grind and place, 40 or 50 12K buys. That's too much, and my CPA is going to blow my brains out. So, but we're a long way off, right? We're at $254. So, when we get down to this area, we're going to have some different strategies in place. And I've done this before, guys. I'll just walk you through it step by step, all the way through. And you guys see the most important thing that I can do in order to get this account, to that level is to lock in small losses like I just did today. $1.51, 0.59%. Yesterday, we locked in at $15.20. So 10 times this size worth of profits. So I gave back 1/10 of my profits from yesterday. And then, of course, Friday, we had a bigger drawdown, and that was kind of a calculated risk. I'm still ahead of schedule, but that's one that I could avoid, right? I don't have to deal with drawdown at all if I don't want to. But, I made it back pretty easily. And then today, I gave back 1/10 of that. So still on track, still ahead of track. We're up pretty significantly compared to where we should be with the size account at this time, using 1.5%. Well, 1%. So yesterday is the first day we bumped up that target. So we're going to do that for 2 weeks. Does that make sense to everybody? By that time, it's a reset, reboot, and do it again. Yeah, I might trim this. If we get up to like 40, 50K, I'll probably trim it down, just so that people who might have missed, the earlier stages can jump in.
Just move it along to the bigger accounts and take that profit out and move it along.
That's exactly it. It's going right into passive income, just like everything else I trim. It goes to the IRS or it goes into the passive account. And my goal is to try to pay the IRS as little as possible. I don't like the government. I don't feel like I get what I pay for, So we'll see. But yeah, no, that's absolutely true. It all goes into passive income, where that compounds. That 40K might turn into 120K in very little, with very little effort. I don't like working for my money twice. So, but it all starts with having discipline. You got to have appropriate position sizes. You got to have the correct execution. You got to have a simple technical analysis strategy. That's what Lee teaches. His strategy is great for this stuff. I'll put his coaching link here as well. So anybody who doesn't have a trading coach, feel free to check that out. He teaches us the equity swing strategies. He teaches the the due diligence process a little more. I'm the lifetime coach. I'm a little bit more technical, a little bit more out of reach. But start with Lee. Start with both.
I'm out there everywhere for sure. Absolutely, that's a good way of saying it. Yeah, I get around. That's the word. But yeah, you can use the strategy on day trading, swing trading. I prefer swing trading, obviously, but you can use it on pretty much anything that you're doing, day trade or swing trade or scalp trade. It can work effectively.
That's it. And. Yeah, I mean, that's what I tell everybody. If foundation's free, right? Use a foundation, survive first, then grow, then optimize, and then that's where the coaching programs come in. And then once you're in the coaching program, that should pay for itself because you'll have a trading plan, You'll have a coach that you can harass the hell out of, and then a clean strategy and a clean process. And then that should allow you to grow up to lifetime. And then when you're ready for lifetime, I'll be there. And then that should pay for itself. So I'm not a sales guy. It kind of makes sense in my opinion. But until then, check out the link, consider it, sleep on it. And we'll be here in the meantime. So sorry, today was anticlimactic, but that's exactly what you want on a day like today. You don't want a bunch of action when the volume is garbage, because that means that you're trying to force stuff. So in this case, CYCU, that right there is why we stop out. I can't trust that this will come back. There's nothing to indicate that this has strength anymore. It broke my setup here. And actually, I should have stopped out up here because we have a 5 candle run, 5 candle rule right here. So that candle right there was the 5th in the pattern. So if I look at all 5 of these candles in sequence, just like I teach, this isn't anything new. Each of these 5 candles has a higher low than the one before. And then this set of 5 right here kind of matches it, but it breaks that pattern, which would have been right there. Does that make sense for all the kids that watch the 5 candle run? I got a flow chart just to prove that I'm not making this up on the spot, right? I hate when people cherry pick stuff. So let me show you, right? We love proof of concept. Okay. So look at these candles right here. And then look at these candles. There we go. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles with higher lows, and then the 6th one breaks below it. Look at this graph. I love that. But I want to do that, and I have to do that because I'm on the internet, on social media and stuff. We have to show proof of concept, and we have to prove that we've called the shots ahead of time, because there's so many people out there that just cherry pick stuff. They'll go to let's just go to BBAI, right? What they'll do is they'll grab like a 15-minute chart, and they'll be like, we got it down here at $5.35. But there will be no proof of that. They'll just grab whatever is running for the day, and they'll just, like MSPR, they'll be like, yeah, we got this before the breakout. Or we had it like 33, 34 cents. It's like, cool if you did, but where was my access to that information? Is it behind a paywall? If so, that's great. Let me hear it from a paid member that it's real. If it's free, where was it posted? So I always try to be very careful about how information is, how claims are presented, right? And that's why I always share my stuff. I share my P&L, I share my trades, I share, my charts, everything. Sometimes it's free, right? Sometimes it's like on these free live streams. Sometimes it's in premium. Sometimes it's in lifetime. And that's just because I happen to be on those streams when I trade them. But there's always some form of transparency in place. And that's, I want you guys to be able to trust the proof of concept. Not me, not what I say, but what I do. Because that helps you guys collect data. All right. So with that said, we're kind of coming back to this area here on MSPR. Bleh. This whole zone's kind of clunky and it's kind of ugly. I do kind of like this box though. So we might get a little push down to there and then another push, but I think we're kind of done for the day. There's just not a lot going on. It's just kind of one of those days in the market, So while that's cooking, let me look at ENGN that halted. That's kind of an abnormality. There's nothing you can, nothing we can really do on that one. I definitely don't want to touch anything that's halting on a day like today, because those get destroyed. SRDX, just ugly. LPSN, kind of good if you want to trade the spot volume. But again, you got descending volume up here. You got this little oasis in volume there. It's just kind of one of those days where we just want to sit on our hands, guys. Right? Don't let the market take over your life. I'm glad you guys are here and hanging out, but there's just nothing to really do. Like the charts are telling me that it's dry out there. So if I were to try to impose my will on things and be like, no, there's trades. We're going to make money today, damn it. I'd probably hurt myself more often than not. So, and again, I don't care if this blasts all the way up to $10 per share. I'm out. it's completely flat for me emotionally. It's the same as every other trade that moves that I'm not in, right? And that's the mindset we have to get to if we want to be successful. It's no different than WHLR, right? I didn't get in on this. I had zero reason to look at it. I don't care. If this one rallies and then CYCU rallies, I should feel exactly the same about both of those because I'm not in them, right? It's a trick of the mind to want to be compensated for things that we focus on, and that's where we get hurt. All right, so with that said, let's hang out. What did you guys trade today in the Discord? Anybody have any settled cash? Or did everyone sit on their hands? Mr. OG says nothing. All right, I like that. That's my favorite answer on a day like today. It's just a crummy day. There's, like I said, we kind of called that out yesterday though, right? Because the banks are closed. It's not going to be a whole bunch of settled cash today. There's not a lot of volume,
ENGN just got halted at 922 when it was trying to reverse here. So this is one that's on the radar too, because they have actually, you go through the top gainers and you actually realize a lot of them are trash and they're just running on no news, just fumes, They're trying to get to the gas station on fumes. But this one actually had very good trial data, and they got some upgrades now to strong buy just recently today, and they got their data. And it's also a very it's a bladder cancer drug trial that they're working on, so very promising results. And anything related to cancer, right, and treating cancer, you're normally going to get some good results in the price action if it's good trial data.
Yeah, interesting.
So this one popped and then it halted, which I hate that it pops and then the momentum kind of stops because of the halt, so it's annoying when we see this kind of stuff happen so quickly.
Yeah, so for this one specifically, for those that don't understand the PDUFA process, it's a Prescription Drug User Fee Act. It's had multiple revisions, but basically it allows, it's the drug pipeline, the treatment pipeline for the FDA. So basically companies have to have these studies. There's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then they can apply. They either get a CRL, which means it's a complete rejection letter, or they can file for an NDA, which is a new drug application, and then they go to market. And the reason that we want to pay attention to that is because these are volume-based catalysts. So, this company specifically had preliminary phase 2 data about their cancer treatment, their bladder cancer treatment. And what the important part here is that they have, in the second half of 2026, they have a planned BLA, so biologics license application. So they have a very clear post-trial plan, which is something that investors really like to see. So, in this case, they're phase 2, which is the safety phase. Phase 1 is basically just the, phase 1, phase 2 basically are just figuring out, is it toxic and how much can be tolerated by a human, right? They try to determine the toxicity and then the dosage, right? And then, so in this case, they're phase 2, which are smaller trials. Phase 3 are the big ones where they actually try to treat the symptom, the condition. So in this case, they had 62 patients at 3 months, 37 patients at 6 months, all patients included, blah, 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 blah. They had a protocol in place, which went into effect in the fourth quarter 2024, and it was designed to more closely align the Legend trial with the American, blah, 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 blah. Basically just saying that they have rules in place and they're following them. So the overall tolerability profile was favorable. And again, we're phase 2, so we're figuring out dosage and toxicity. Of the 125 patients assessed for safety in cohort 1 as of October 24, 2025, 42% of them experienced at least one TRAE, I can't talk, which were mainly graded 1 or 2 in severity, except for 3 patients with grade 3 TRAEs. The most common TRAE were bladder spasms, 10.4%. There were no grade 4 or grade 5 TRAEs reported, which is good. That means that there's not it's not a strong adverse reaction to the medication. So that's important. And more specifically, TRAE is treatment-related adverse event, for those who don't know. So basically it's just saying there were no incidents. So that's pretty good. That's a good result there. And they didn't. This is important here. Among the 3 patients with grade 3 TRAEs, there were no drug discontinuations related to the severe adverse events. So just saying that basically it's not the fault of the drug. So, something like that's good for investors, right? Now, short term, we're going to probably see little pops and drops in volume. That's all good stuff. But this is something that, somebody might invest in for a year, right? Because they've got the last half of next year for their BLA. So it's good for investors, but we're seeing the spot volume. Think of this like an earnings catalyst, right? You see just spot volume, then there's typically a recovery period. So we might see some sell-off. People are going to want to take their profits after it's done popping. And then the investors will come in and accumulate, and then they'll hold it, and it'll probably continue upward. So I like this one. I just don't like it for a quick scalp. A market open scalp. It's just too risky. So it's great if people get in and they're able to scalp between halts. That's great. I'm not touching it, not on a day like today, but that's a good catch, Lee. I love it. Good stuff. So this one is going to go on a watch list for Pookie, and Pookie's going to watch for a pullback, and then Pookie might get some investor shares for the next 2 years, and then maybe more if they go to market and do well. Like, a lot of things have to go right still. They can't just we can't expect them to just slam it home for years. Does that all make sense? I sure hope so. All right, so they halted at 10:08:33, which we know gives us a 5-minute window. So 10:13:33 is when we can watch. So another minute and 28 seconds. So let's keep an eye on that one. What are you doing with this one, Lee? He hates me. All right, we got a minute. One more minute for this one. And if, they could unhalt it at 5 minutes on the dot, or, we saw that yesterday where they kept one halted for an additional 5 minutes. That one didn't have, this one didn't have nearly as much volume or move as the other one. The other one, they literally had to throttle the volume back. So we saw chain halts and then, greater than 5 minutes. All right.
With this one, I'm waiting for the underhaul. I'm not going to be making any decisions yet. Yeah. But it moved pretty quickly.
Yeah, again, I don't like halts on day like today. I'm not touching it.
No.
I will swing the hell out of this one and grab some shares for a couple of years probably. I like that news. As long as I don't mess something up, Getting through phase 2 is the hardest part.
There you go.
All right. Looks like we got a little bit of a little pull down, but it's got so much strength on it. Boom, 1025 wall just got sucked into oblivion. Look at that. That's awesome. Now, what we're seeing here is kind of interesting because we're seeing both the bid and the ask walls both move up, which this is like a black hole right now. Price is just sucking in right here. That's like the best form of consolidation you can possibly see, or compression. And that typically leads to the best impulses. So if you're watching the recording, if you guys watch the recording on that one, you'll see at the 1014 mark, you'll see both the bid wall and the ask wall move up. And you'll see the spread get a little weird there for a second. And that's just because it was trying to aggressively match orders on both sides, which is good. That means that there's a lot of really aggressive participation. So that's pretty rare to see. I like that. There's normally see like one wall move up, one wall move down, but we saw both moving up. It's very interesting. Had a little singularity event on a biofarm. See, we're still kind of seeing it. You guys see how both these walls are just pulling up? That's interesting. Now we're seeing that spread, right? You got a 10-cent spread on this one all of a sudden because it's just so aggressively it's reaching out and grabbing orders all the way across the bid-ask spread, like super far away and just matching them, which means there's probably not a ton of market orders in here. It's mostly limit orders, which again, that's good for a move, right? If that turns directional, that's a good, a third halt coming. But left away, you got a 12-cent spread. So that's the time I run away. I don't want to be in that one at that point. Yeah, that's crazy. That spread is huge. 14 cents. Ugly, ugly. I mean, it's good, but it's terrifying that there's that much sparseness on the order book. This thing is just eating everything they throw at it, and it's still like the bid-ask spread is still widening. You guys see that? There's a 7-cent, 7-cent spread now. It was up to 14 cents at one point, which is something you don't typically see on a stock that's chain halting. Normally you see a very tight spread, super high liquidity, right? Sorry, guys, I'm getting a DM here I got to respond to. Sorry, I got to find something on my end, guys. It's a operations thing. Sorry, give me one moment here. Okay. All right. No idea. Sorry. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So yeah, we're just kind of, we got our spread just kind of doing its thing, 2 to 4 cents to 5 cents. It's weird. Like there's not this is like the lowest liquidity I've ever seen on a chain halting stock, so we got to be very careful with stuff like that. CYCU looks like it's just kind of puttering around. BBAI looks like it's just selling off still. Not a lot going on there. MSPR pulled back, didn't blast out of the zone, right? We didn't get our continuation off of that. So, now we've got potential to come down to this guy. And, we've got this guy too as well. You can make that argument there. But that's going to be a super transitory level. There's not good volume at that one. So again, it's just kind of one of those days where the volume just kind of bleh, it just kind of falls off and there's not much we can do about that. Unless you want to be super aggressive and try to scalp every single candle, every single move, but that's definitely not the life I want to live. I did it for a very long time. I was very successful at it, and it's still not worth it. so it's not, it ain't fun. And we're probably going to get back into that territory, probably around this area, maybe a little bit higher, probably around here, because we're going to run into liquidity ceilings. I'll have to break up the buys. But it is a very dumb way to trade, in my opinion. So, and I only say that because it's not the best use of my time, right? So for me personally, I don't like it. So with that said, I do have a one-on-one coming up here pretty soon, so I have to jump off of here. I'm glad we were able to hang out, and I'm sorry it's kind of a slow day in the market, but I'm also kind of glad we got it because it's a good example of days where you have to prioritize risk management. I took my 0.59% loss for the day, and I'm celebrating that because it was a good risk management. This one went further down after I got out, and I didn't have access to any information other than where I was stopping out. And then it continued down after that. And, it happens to be coming back up, but that's kind of rare, right? So with that said, let me end the recording and the live stream. Let me put this link here first. Anyone who's watching this on social media, if you guys are around Thursday, around the same time, 9:30, 9:15 a.m. Eastern, we're going to have Mad Maverick. He's going to do his live stream in the morning. So we're going to have a kind of a combo wombo this week. So make sure you guys are there. Bookmark that. If you put your email in that form, we'll send you a link on Wednesday night with the YouTube video itself, and we'll send you some emails to remind you as well. So it's a nice little convenience factor. Feel free to sign up for that. I do got to end this stream here, though. I have to wrap up in the Discord, and then I will jump on this one-on-one call with my lifetime member. And I'm looking forward to it. So I'll see you guys next event. Let me just grab the schedule here. If you guys are in the Discord, we have PBU live at 1:00 p.m. Eastern today. So make sure you guys are back here in a couple hours. MetaMat, or What the Duck, however you want to refer to him. He's going to be back here at 1:00 teaching some free education. So make sure you guys are here. If you guys are in premium or lifetime, I'll see you guys at 3:00 in Bull's spread trading class, which is where I believe everybody should be if you're trading options. I don't like seeing people trade naked options. And then we'll see you guys back here in free again at 5:00. So 1:00 and 5:00, you guys got free live streams. And Bull also has his earnings stream at 4:00. So Duck is really a chicken. Hey, Farouk, sorry. How you doing, buddy? It's been a little bit. Let me end the social media streams, and then I'll hang out with you guys here in the Discord for a minute while I do my cleanup. All right. So thanks for watching on social media. I'll see you guys later. Be back here at 1:00. Adios.